Welcome back. So today we are going to talk about the OpenRock E. So first I want to say that this is another style of open ear earbud, earphone. They call it earbuds. This is the one I actually reviewed previously, and this is your pretty traditional over-the-ear, open ear. This kind of sits right above your ear canal. These are kind of the sets that came out first. This design was a little bit earlier than this one. This is the one that doesn't go around your ear, but kind of clips onto the side of your ear. So, but similarly, I think OpenRock does a pretty good job at both styles, but do be aware that this one is still called open ear, but the design is actually a little bit different than this is the newer, more modern design that is a little bit less intrusive for especially those guys who wear glasses. This one kind of clips right on the side of your ear, so it looks like this. So this sits almost in your ear canal, just outside of your ear canal. The bar bit actually clips onto the back of your ear, and they have instructions on how to position it correctly. But yeah, I think this clip style is something that has kind of evolved, especially in the second half of the year. We saw a couple at the beginning of the year, but they were a little bit more expensive. The price of these is definitely coming down, and that is a good thing. And this one, always confusing how to get it back into the case, but it has magnets, so it actually snaps in place, which is actually really nice. So this is the case. Also, it's kind of a lightweight case. These are lightweight clip-ons. They're 4-point-something grams each. Together, they are about 9 grams. So what is it? This one is, a $49 open ear clip style earbud for that environmental awareness. These are pretty much no isolation. You can hear pretty much everything around you, but then they are putting music kind of right outside of your ear canal. So it's a really nice blend of hearing what is going on around you with some music, and they try to improve the music presentation on each revision of these models and design. So that's kind of what happens here. In specs, again, it's lightweight. It's about 4 grams each on these, 9.6 grams together. About 7 hours of battery life, 28 when you count the battery that's inside the case, IPX4 sweat resistance, Bluetooth 6, and they have something called LISO Lite sound optimization, app support, and presets and customization. So again, this open ear style, whether you're talking about the clip-on or the over-the-ear, they've really been pushing kind of these software customizations, this software sound optimization to really focus on which frequencies can kind of get boosted, which ones are harder to hear, because this little speaker right here is kind of ported and sitting outside of your ear. So it's a matter of trying to figure out what's the best frequency range to boost so the frequencies that are lost between your ear canal and the actual clip, boost those a bit so they are more present, maybe turn down the ones that are easier to hear. So there's this kind of software magic to get these to sound better, more general appealing, more fun, more engaging. And that's been sort of the refinement path all along. So the clip-on are kind of joining the over-the-ear versions as far as doing this software optimization for really focusing on which frequencies need to be boosted to make this whole thing sound better. So on the sound, again, I think the goal is to have this situational awareness, which is what this design gives you, while hearing music presented in a full as range as possible from an offset driver. As I said, this one kind of sits right outside of your ear canal. Each revision of the clip-on earbuds I've heard, they kind of continue to move forward, presenting a wider frequency, getting closer to TWS, right? These TWS that sit a little bit closer to your ear canal or semi in your ear canal, those have better isolation. They don't need to really boost frequencies in the way that this one does. So this has been this balancing act of making these still present your environmental awareness, your situational awareness, but moving the music to a presentation that is more familiar to you for those of you who use TWS. And like other open ear designs, this one uses that extra processing, as I said, to really emphasize those certain frequencies. So music sounds as appealing as possible and appropriate levels of bass and vocal clarity, and upper range for, kind of your immersion and soundstage and all those things that really engage you. And that's kind of exactly what this one does. And if I was going to nitpick one area of sound on this particular model, it would be the sub bass, which is understandably difficult to do from, this style of port that's sitting outside of your ear canal. It's not quite, they call it savage bass, but it's not quite savage bass, especially in the sub bass. But they really do keep on inching closer and inching the extension down to present more bass and to really get deeper into the sub bass. But again, having this little speaker, the way this port is right outside of your ear canal, it is very difficult to get a full range of bass into your ear and not lose anything. And that's sort of what the software is trying to get around. The over-the-ear open ear designs, they do have more driver and porting options. They can have kind of a resonant chamber, more options for bass boosting, and the clip-on design is just closer to the ear canal, so it doesn't require as much processing, but it can sound much closer to semi in-ear. Doesn't have the glasses problem. There's advantages to this design, but also a couple of things that make it a little bit harder, as you essentially have a smaller area to work with. This little ball is a little bit smaller than this whole area that they have on the over the ear to actually put in a speaker chain, or put in different driver types, different porting chambers. Whereas this, we've got not a whole lot of room to work with it. But on the value on this one, at $49, I think that is where the OpenRock E does well. And it really gives you a chance to really try these without spending a ton of money. That was the downside to some of the original models at the beginning of the year, was that they were priced at a more premium price. The downside on this particular design and the lower price point is missing some of the higher end features of similarly priced TWS and LDAC, more mics, better call quality, the ability to do transparency in ANC. TWS is sort of addressing the same style of market with transparency, right? Giving you some kind of situational awareness. The design is basically built around situational awareness, and they're trying to backfill some of that TWS sound presentation and sound quality. So you kind of see both sides of the market kind of converging on the same idea of making it safer to wear TWS outside in an environment where you do need to hear cars or voices or people or something like that, but giving you really a higher level of sound quality. So these guys kind of approach it from giving you all the situational awareness. TWS gives you, here's all the sound quality. Somewhere in the middle is a design that gives you the best of both worlds, and that's kind of where OpenRock E and other designs are trying to get there. And there'll be a continuation of the refinement. Just as OpenRock E is just one model, they'll probably come out with a different model that improves upon some of these things, maybe address some of these nitpicks, and we'll see it continue to evolve throughout 2026 as well. So thank you guys again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.